Everyone is captivated by the vision of the superbot. We see these videos every day of complex AI agents seemingly running entire businesses.
Oh yeah, totally autonomous.
But here's the hard truth. If you try to start there, you are setting yourself up for, well, the biggest mistake possible.
Absolutely.
The real power and the real profit, it's found in the basics, in the stuff everyone else calls boring.
Welcome to the deep dive. We are unpacking a crucial roadmap today, one designed specifically for you if you feel just completely overwhelmed by that rush toward complex AI agents. This deep dive is for you if you've ever tried to build a simple workflow, hit that first red JSON error, and just wanted to quit right there.
And that roadmap is exactly what we're delivering. We're giving you the technical foundations, the critical emotional expectations, and the strategy you need to actually build automation systems that provide massive predictable value.
So we've structured this conversation into three essential parts. First, we'll define the three distinct layers of automation and show you where to start for immediate profit. Second, we'll talk through that unavoidable emotional curve of learning this, what we call the valley of despair. And then finally, we're going to break down the 4 core technical skills you absolutely need.
Let's unpack this blueprint for becoming a true AI automation expert. We have to begin with the foundation. I mean, think of building an automated system like building a skyscraper.
Right.
You just don't start by framing out the penthouse and hoping the rest of it holds up.
That's exactly it. The single biggest beginner mistake is rushing past those foundational layers. It's why automations break constantly. It's why they cost more to maintain than they actually save.
So let's detail layer 1, the foundation of standard workflows. These might seem, boring, but they are reliable, profitable, and crucially, they are deterministic.
Deterministic is the key word. It just means if you put input A in, you always get output B out.
Always.
No ambiguity, no guesswork.
So an example would be the most basic office automation, right?
Okay.
A customer fills out a web form that's input A. That data automatically goes to a Google Sheet, an email gets sent, a Slack notification pops up. That's output B. There's no AI involved here, just hard rules.
And here's the essential insight. Mastering just layer 1 can save companies 20 to 40% in labor costs.
40%.
40%. Just by streamlining those repetitive tasks. You can build a 6-figure business just on these rules-based, predictable workflows.
So if a company needs that fast ROI, should they just ignore the fancy autonomous agents and focus strictly on automating their most tedious rule-based tasks first?
Yes. Start with layer 1, the deterministic processes, because they are reliable and deliver predictable labor savings.
Okay, so once layer 1 is rock solid, then we can move to layer 2, AI-assisted workflows.
This is the sweet spot for a lot of businesses.
Why is that?
Because you maintain that rigid, predictable structure from layer 1, but you strategically, sprinkle in intelligence.
Okay, so give me an example.
Let's take that customer form submission again. That part is standard layer 1. But before the workflow routes the lead, you inject a large language model to analyze the text.
To see if they're happy or angry.
Exactly. Is their sentiment angry, curious, happy? That categorization is the AI-assisted step. Then the rest of the workflow uses that label to route them to the right team. The human is still in charge of the flow.
Then, and only then, do you even think about approaching layer 3, the autonomous AI agents.
And this is where the complexity that everyone chases lives. It's inherently non-deterministic.
Meaning the result might be different every single time.
Every time. The AI is planning its own path, it's deciding which tools to use, it's trying to maintain a memory, it's attempting to operate like a person.
So wait, if I can't even handle a simple JSON error in layer 1, a basic data mismatch, I have zero chance of debugging a layer 3 failure. Like a hallucination.
It is the ultimate gatekeeper. If you can't debug a workflow where A should always equal B, how are you going to debug one where the AI is making 20 independent, complex decisions on its own? You have to master the simple stuff first. So that's the technical side. But before you can build any of that, you have to survive the learning curve. We need to talk about the emotional roadmap.
Right, this is so critical. Learning AI automation is, it's a transition curve. It follows the Dunning-Kruger effect almost perfectly.
And knowing these emotional stages is what prevents you from quitting.
Stage 1 is the uninformed optimist. You see a viral video, your confidence is through the roof, but your competence is, well, at 0.
And you're thinking, oh, I can do this weekend, no problem.
Then, almost immediately, you hit stage 2. The informed pessimist.
This is the first red error message.
Yeah.
You realize you don't know basic terms like array or header, and your confidence just crashes.
And that leads directly to stage 3, the crisis of meaning. People call it the valley of despair.
This is the absolute bottom. You feel completely inadequate. You start wondering if you're smart enough for this, if you should just quit and hire someone.
And most people stop right here.
They do.
They let that feeling of inadequacy win.
It's just the sheer complexity of it all. It feels like hitting a wall of jargon. You lose all your momentum.
So if the valley of despair is where everyone quits, what's the single most important action to take to climb out of it?
Fixing just one error builds the foundation for competence and restores momentum.
Okay, so let's look at the toolbox you need to climb out of that valley. You don't need to be a senior software engineer, but you have to speak the language of data.
And that starts with skill 1, JSON, JavaScript object notation. And please don't let that name scare you. JSON is simply a way to organize text so that computers can read it easily.
It's like a really structured grocery list. It uses keys and paired values. So you have the key, which is name, and the value, which is John Doe.
Or the key is age, and the value is 30. And the real power of automation is just picking specific values from that structure. If you need John's age, you ask for the value that goes with the age key. It's that simple.
And that brings us to skill 2, APIs, application programming interfaces.
If JSON is the content, the API is the tunnel that lets different apps talk to each other and pass that JSON data around.
The best analogy I've ever heard is the waiter in a restaurant.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, so you're the client. You tell the waiter, the API, what you want based on the menu, which is the app's documentation.
And the waiter relays that order to the kitchen, the server, and brings the data back to your table.
Exactly. You only need to know how to order, not how to cook.
Ah.
So since JSON seems so fundamental, if I only master one technical skill, why is understanding that key value structure the one that unlocks everything?
Because every piece of data you move in automation, regardless of the app, is formatted using this structure. All right, skill 3, webhooks. And this is important because we have to contrast it with APIs. An API is you asking for data. It's called polling. It's like checking your mailbox every 10 minutes to see if a new lead signed up. It's a waste of time and resources.
A webhook flips that entirely. It's the application ringing your doorbell only when something happens.
Like the mailman delivering a package. Exactly.
And webhooks are crucial for instant workflow triggers. A payment fails, a lead signs up, boom, the system starts immediately.
Which brings us to skill 4. Logic and control flow. This is the brain of your system. Once you have the data and the transport method, you need to dictate what actions to take.
And this starts with simple IFL statements. If a lead is urgent, send it to Slack. Else save it to Notion.
Right, and you also need loops, which are essential for repeating an action across a big data set, like sending a welcome email to 100 new customers.
And finally, the merge function for combining different data sources, like pulling data from a Google Sheet and matching it with data from an email, all into one report.
So why is mastering this kind of control flow more important than just knowing a specific tool's interface?
Because logic dictates how the system makes decisions, which is the core intelligence of any valuable workflow. Okay, now we finally get to the AI part of the system, but we have to move past this simple idea of prompt engineering.
We need to focus on context engineering.
Right, and what's interesting here is that an LLM, a large language model, it's stateless. It's like a powerful brain that forgets details from the step right before.
And I'll admit, I still wrestle with prompt drift myself, where a prompt that worked perfectly yesterday fails today just because I didn't give it enough context.
The best analogy is sending a student into an exam. You wouldn't just give a generic prompt like, write a good essay. That's a bad approach.
The context engineering approach is giving that student a detailed cheat sheet, something that guides their answer very specifically.
Exactly. That cheat sheet strategy means you feed the AI all the relevant context before you ask it to do the task. It's the only way to get consistent results.
So let's use that content repurposing example. A bad prompt is just turn this text into a LinkedIn post. It's useless.
Right. The context-engineered prompt is much more robust. It breaks down into 4 parts. First, you define the role. Act as a B2B SaaS strategist.
Then, the context. Your target audience is automation agency owners. Then you provide the data, the actual transcripts.
And finally, and this is key, precise writing guidelines. Use short sentences, no hashtags, write at a 6th grade reading level.
And this is the core of reliable AI automation. passing dynamic data consistently, it turns the LLM from a guessing machine into a precise processing unit.
So if an LLM is so smart, why can't it remember the previous steps in a workflow without us giving it explicit context every single time?
Because the LLM is stateless, context must be explicitly provided in each request to simulate memory. Okay, so before you even open an automation canvas, you have to avoid the spaghetti wires trap.
What is that?
It's just building without a plan. You have to plan on paper first, like a process engineer. Map out the whole thing. What's the trigger? What data do I need? Where is it? And what's the final result?
If you can't draw it, you can't build it.
Yeah.
And when you decide what to automate, you have to focus on the 4 pillars of value. Don't automate just because it's cool. A task should hit at least 2 of these.
Okay, what are they?
1, it has to be repetitive. Happens 50 times a week. 2, time-consuming. Takes 2 hours of annual labor.
3, error-prone. Humans mess up the copy-paste all the time.
Yeah.
And 4, scalable. The process breaks if the business doubles.
And we stress 2 pillars because automating something that's repetitive but not error-prone, it's probably not worth the time.
Right, you need that leverage. Now, for resilience, your system will break. The goal isn't perfection. It's building a system you can fix quickly. You have to fail fast and log everything.
And relying on the tools built in history just isn't professional. You need a dedicated log in something like Airtable. Log the date, the workflow name, the status, and the exact error message.
And you have to set up instant notifications like a Slack message the second a workflow fails.
Oh. Imagine scaling that logging system to track like a billion queries and knowing instantly when and where a single process fails.
That's the kind of intelligence that separates amateurs from the real experts.
And when you start selling these skills, you have to stop talking about JSON.
Nobody cares.
Clients only care about the ROI. Saving time, saving money, or making money. That's it. You're selling a better business outcome.
So your portfolio needs data that proves that outcome. You need tangible metrics like processed 5,000 invoices automatically or resolved 500 support tickets with 0 errors. That's how you become a strategic partner.
So when you're pitching automation to a client, which of those 4 value pillars is typically the easiest to quantify and secure a budget around?
Saving time or money is the easiest, as those results translate immediately into measurable ROI.
Okay, let's unpack this entire deep dive. Connect all the threads we've pulled today.
I think the big idea is really discipline over genius. Your discipline means starting with layer 1, those deterministic workflows, because they're the foundation. Get comfortable with JSON. It's just structured text. And remember that emotional curve. If you're in the valley of despair, that means you're actually learning. Fixing just one bug is how you climb out.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it really is about controlling complexity. You have to feed the LLM that detailed cheat sheet of context engineering every single time. And always, always plan on paper first.
Focus on the value pillars, not just the cool factor.
Right.
You now have the full roadmap, both technical and emotional. You know the tools. The only thing left is to open a blank canvas and just start building something.
Which raises an important question for you to mull over. If you can automate a task that saves you 20% of your labor time this week, what new creative human-centric task does that free you up to do instead?
That's the real value of the deep dive.